Things are a little trickier than this, however. It is occasionally necessary, even when modeling externally visible behavior of a device, to invent some additional internal states. The most common example are timers, such as what we saw earlier. A user can't really understand how a clock radio works without appreciating that there are several internal timers working. See if you can come up with a list of what internal timers are there. Okay, what timers do you have?
So the first one is the snooze timer. So as soon as you hit the snooze button, and in 10 minutes, the alarm
time's up to 10 minutes, sure. Mm-hmm. What else?
There is an alarm time, I think. Or, the alarm's not going to go on forever. So, there's like an internal, isn't there a state for our alarm has started, and then at some point the alarm needs to go off so it's not playing forever.
So recall the original requirements in which we said that the alarm can only go for an hour, and so there has to be a timer to time up to that 1 hour.
Okay.
What else?
For the sleep, internally when you are playing music and you have your sleep timer set, is there something that kicks off? Usually, like you press sleep on, right? So or something like that, and then it'll run until it meets the time you've set for when the.
Well, if you've set the sleep timer, mm-hmm. then when you move your slide switch or mode switch into radio or alarm, I guess into radio, it's going to, normally if you haven't set the sleep time, it would go off. You wouldn't be hearing any radio. So if you're sitting there and you move to on, the radio comes on.
Okay.
But if you move it to radio.
Music.
Uh-huh. Okay, it would normally go off. But if you have the sleep timer set, it goes off after that amount of time.
And then another internal timer is for your sleep timer. I guess I want to make sure I understand correctly how the sleep timer, like how it functionally works. So you press the sleep time, and that's like, say you want to play for 30 minutes before it goes off. So to activate that, what mode do you need to be in, like to start your sleep timer?
Okay, so there's two things going on here. Setting the amount of time before the radio goes off, and then actually causing that to happen at night when you're ready to go to sleep. So we know how to set the time by hitting the sleep button and then setting some time there. Now it turns out on this particular clock radio, we've seen that the possibilities are 12 hours and there's 60 minutes, but this particular clock radio, you can only set it, I believe, for up to an hour. Okay, so you're really just setting the minutes part of it. And I haven't personally tried this feature out, so I don't know what the internal logic does in the situation where you say 3 hours and 20 minutes, even though it's only can do this sleeping for an hour. So that's one thing that as an actual developer we'd have to decide upon. Okay. Then there's the question of how, when you're going to bed at night, this thing works. And what it is if you have set the sleep time, if it's got an actual value you've put in there, when you move the mode switch into radio, you would normally expect not to hear anything. But if you've got the sleep time set, then you would actually expect the radio to continue playing until that sleep time expires.
Okay. So then I guess just the internal timer for that. So as soon as you move it into that mode, it goes up until you're to that threshold. Right. And then lastly, you have this internal clock timer for like your actual display clock.
So yeah, we're clocking the minutes and hours as they go by, and so there has to be some timer to do that particular thing. So we can add these timers as submachines, and when we do, the results is what you see here.